following along in your agenda, this is the part where I'm supposed to present my vision for the year as your new principal. Now, I've spent a long time developing my personal vision from school, starting when I was in the classroom, and it's evolved over time. But I'm doing this at the end of this meeting because I had the opportunity to see your feedback on your celebrations of success from the previous years to get a better idea of where you are as a staff, and I'm really encouraged by that. And I think that as we go through this, you're going to see a lot of my vision was shared in the experiences that you already talked about today. So I'm going to try and keep it simple. When I think of a vision for this school and what I want to see us do this year, I think our goal is to enhance, empower, and engage. 3 E's. We're going to keep it simple. When we talk about enhance, we want to be able to enhance our relationships. I'm talking about our relationships with our students, because I think that should be one of our major goals, is making this a place that they want to come every day. And I'm sure many of you have been doing that throughout your career. But in this case, we're talking about being very intentional about it, so that if you aren't, you might be able to see what some of your colleagues are doing and recognize the value in that. And we can talk about a couple of things that start right off the bat, the first day of school. Something I used to do in the classroom, we used to play a game called 2 Truths and a Lie. I would tell the students 3 facts about me, and they would have to determine which 2 were true and which one was a lie. And then we could go around and do that throughout the entire room. They really enjoyed that. When I was a co-teacher, the teacher and I would do a game with the staff where they had to guess whether a fact was about me or about the co-teacher. And after we went around and did that with the class, we flipped it and had students pair off, and they gave us statements that we had to determine which statement the student belonged to. And not only did it build a relationship where we were interacting with each other from the start, but we were learning information beyond the classroom, because that's one of the things I want to be able to talk about. Whether we're in good times or bad, when we're dealing with students, I want them to believe and know that we truly care about them and we have a relationship with them. So if you come to my office this year and we have an issue with a student, I'm going to want you to be able to tell me something about that student. And I don't just mean they're great in your class or that they miss assignments. Hopefully you know that they're into a certain sport, or they have the youngest of 5 siblings, or they love cats. Something about them that tells me that you've built that relationship with them, because if we build these strong relationships, we're going to be able to meet their needs better. They're going to be more receptive to what we're trying to do with them. We're also going to enhance instruction, and we're going to do our best to effectively offer multiple modes of information. You guys saw earlier some information on UDL, and you saw when people celebrated successes, a lot of that talked about people doing different things and not showing information just one way. So one of those critical tenets of UDL was offering multiple means of expression. We hope to be able to do that, and we're going to have a plan for being able to do that together. And it also includes the effective use of technology. I have a strong background in technology, but I've also seen people who ask for technology and they don't really know how to use it, and it doesn't add to their class, and in fact sometimes it detracts from that. So that's something that we should be able to do when we talk about enhancing our environment. We're going to enhance the relationships and enhance the ability to instruct. We're also going to talk about empowerment. We want to empower our students to be risk takers, and we want them to be active participants in their learning. But in the same case, I want to empower you as our staff to take risks in your classroom, to try new things, to think outside of the box, and to find what works best for your students, because we know as classes roll through, sometimes year to year, things change, and what worked in a previous year might not work the following year. So I want you guys to feel safe and empowered knowing that you can try something, and even if it doesn't work, if you've tried it, you've reflected on it, and you've seen what part of it doesn't work and what you might want to change, that's what I'm looking for, because that's true growth as a teacher, to look at something and recognize whether it works and see what you can fix in it. And then finally, when we talk about engagement, again, we want students to be active participants in their learning. One of the 3 tenets in UDL that we talked about earlier was engagement, and talked about student choice. So I would like to show some examples, more examples of student choice in their work, because again, then we talk about bringing them in to be an active participant in their learning. And it allows them to build on their strengths rather than just identify their weaknesses. While we certainly need to work on certain areas with students, we also need to recognize that if they have strengths and we want to keep them engaged in school and learning, we have to build on those strengths so that they can celebrate their successes. Because if they can't, they're not going to be as engaged, they're more likely to fail, they're more likely to drop out. But we know that students who have choice and build on the things that they're good at will continue to like and come to school. And then engage in collaboration as a staff. There is no better tool here than us. We have the ability to do everything on here and to do everything our students need. The answers are in the room. Some of you might be looking at it saying, how are we going to do that? But I know that there are people in this room who are great at building relationships with their students. And you probably have even better suggestions than mine on icebreaker activities that you could do at the beginning of the year. And some of you are going to be very into technology, probably more than me. And you probably have a lot to offer your colleagues in that realm. When we're talking about taking risks, there are probably some risk takers in the room already who can share some experiences and some growth about how they learned from past mistakes and moved on. And then in collaboration, some of you probably already share with each other. I think that's one of the best parts in the bedrock of public education is our goal is success for everyone, so we should be willing to share. Our goal is to try and set up effective PLT structures in this group so that we can collaborate, because for some of the things that we talked about, it might be new learning on your part, and we don't want anyone doing it alone. We don't want you to feel like you're in isolation and you're in your classroom trying to do this new thing all together. So we're going to be able to collaborate together as a team in order to meet those goals. And later on, we're going to work and see how this building can come together on a shared vision and how we can meet our goals for the year.